Hello YouTube. So, hang on, I'm going to try to get the camera right here. Okay, alright, that's better. So, this is my new channel. Some of you are joining us from my previous channel, or my other channel, for relaxation videos, and that's fine. This is not going to be relaxing. I just want you to know that up front. The purpose of this channel is to sort of document my journey from diagnosis to hopefully healing, and learning how to deal with what may be a bipolar diagnosis and or borderline personality disorder. So that's number one. Number two is that because I'm still waiting for official diagnosis and treatment, I've been doing a lot of research, and one of the things that I desperately wanted was to see how someone else dealt with this period of uncertainty and where you're just not sure what to do next, and how to wait it out. And I couldn't find much. There are a lot of people posting that are already well down the track to wellness and being okay, and that's awesome because it gives me hope. But I needed to see how people were dealing in the beginning, and I suspect that there's not a lot of that because this is a really painful time. With a lot of uncertainty and questions, and you feel sort of like you're broken and nobody can fix you. So, yeah. So, how did we get here? Let me just give you a background real quick. I'm 34. I'm currently married, and I have 4 children. 2 single births and 1 set of twins. And that's going to come into significance later. What else can I tell you? I work full-time. YouTube is a hobby. I read. I appreciate artwork. I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Long walks on the beach, all that stuff. So I went to a therapist recently. Not my first rodeo. I've been to several therapists. And the difference this time is that I actually let her in and told her everything that was going on. All the symptoms. All the ugly things that you don't really want to tell your doctor. I'd always told them about my childhood, which was shitty, and I had always told them that I was just generally an unhappy person, not angry, just unhappy, and never content, and not okay. Sometimes they would say, well, how are you feeling? Not okay was about all I could get out. What I wasn't telling them was that there was a lot of sexual compulsion. There was obsessive behaviors when it came to men or male attention. All of that will make probably more sense once I tell you my story. And that's what we're going to get into now. So, my parents divorced when I was 5. That's really not where all this started. I don't remember having any real, heavy emotion over them divorcing. I don't know why that is. I just didn't. Or maybe I did, and it just wasn't significant enough in comparison that I remember. So, the reason that's significant to the rest of it is that several years later, when I was 10, my father just stopped communicating with me. He stopped sending me letters. He stopped sending me gifts. He wasn't sending me cards. but he was sending them to my brother, who lived in the same house with me. So the intention was to be obvious about it, and what I didn't know at the time was that he was pressuring my mother to tell me that he was not actually my father. She finally felt compelled to tell me, I think more because she was afraid of what he might do next. Not that he was a vile human being, he just was not the smartest. So, my mother gave me the talk. You know what I'm talking about. The birds and the bees. The birds and the bees. This isn't lotion we're talking about. The birds and the bees talk. Um, birds, bees. And when she was finished giving me all the dirty details about sex, she followed it up with, oh hey, by the way, your father's not really your father, and I'm not going to tell you who is. So I was 10 years old and hit with life-changing information, couldn't ask any questions, couldn't get any closure, couldn't talk to him, and all of a sudden I was abandoned and broken. The problem then became helping everyone else deal with it. Mom was devastated because she felt that she had hurt me, and I helped her not to feel so bad. And in doing that, covered up my own pain. My brother was devastated because this was his father doing this mean thing to me. That's what he kept calling it. And yeah, I suppose it was a mean thing, but I didn't want Ty to hurt. So I did what I could to make it okay. I didn't let anybody see me cry. I was a rock at 10. That's so dysfunctional. And doesn't let you heal at all. So I just carried all this around. And I remember from that point on doing things like going up to my room after school, curling up in a ball on the bed, having a good cry, and having myself cleaned up before Mom came home. That was when my interest in boys kicked up a notch. All of a sudden, boys didn't have cooties anymore. I wanted their attention, and I was a backward, chubby, poorly dressed kid in California, of all places, where they don't really handle backward or poorly dressed well. Ugh, it was awful. So I desperately wanted their attention and couldn't have their attention, and so I had to find ways to get their attention, meaning I had to like the things that they liked. I had to play the games that they liked to play. I had to watch the shows that they liked to watch. I had to listen to the music that they liked to listen to. I stopped making decisions based on what I wanted and started making decisions based on what everyone else wanted. And that's how I've operated ever since. Mom was in a relationship with a man she later married, and he was a massive douchebag. Um, he was emotionally and mentally abusive. If there's a difference, really, I don't know. Attempted to be sexually abusive, but I just didn't cooperate, I guess. I don't know how that usually happens. All I know is he tried and I didn't go for it, and he never tried again. Thank God for that, right? Could be worse. But all through middle school, all through high school, I obsessed over one boy after another and didn't really start dating until I was 15. and only dated that boy because he wanted to date me. So it was never really about being attracted to him or liking him at all. It was just, he likes me, he sees some value in me that nobody else sees, so I'm going to stick with that. But I put an end to that dating relationship, even at that young age, because he seemed to be more interested in football than in me in one conversation that we had on the phone. One conversation. So I abandoned that relationship before it would abandon me. And that's a concept that I picked up from um, Faded Borders, which is another YouTube channel that deals with BPD. When Kara talked about that, it hit home with me because I could see it in my life over and over and over again, where I had abandoned people or situations before I could be burned. And it's a sad place to be because you end up missing out on so many things because you're so afraid of being hurt. So, yeah. So relationship after relationship was like that. I had many, many, many male friends. Seems like all of my close friends were male. And I always let them see absolutely the best of me that they could. I took on their hobbies, their music, their worldviews in some cases. And one of those friends was the man I later married. Now, granted, we had been best friends for 5, 6 years before we ever started dating. And I had been crazy about him. And the only way I say that is because literally I obsessed about him loving me, about him wanting me. And because he didn't, it only made me try harder. So I walked with him through 2 major breakups with significant girlfriends. I went with him to buy diamond earrings for one of them and cried the whole way home. We almost dated twice. Both times he was trashed and then later apologized for his behavior and actually one time apologized, the second time claimed that he forgot all, didn't remember any of it. You can imagine how traumatizing that would be.